Assalamu alaikum and welcome to week 9 of the If I Were You show. We had a break last week for Eid and I'm so excited to be here. I kind of missed being here, so I'm excited to be back and to talk about the topics that we have today. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Fatimah. I'm the founder of Finance Girly, where I help Muslim women just like you take control of their financial pictures in order to build a financial future that they're proud, grateful, and happy about. This show is a weekly show held here on Instagram where people send in their questions, or I refer to questions that I get asked very frequently from Muslim women about money. And I answer based off of what I would do if I were in their shoes as a financial coach. So it's just your homegirl chatting to you, telling you what she would do if she were in your shoes as a financial coach. So welcome, thank you, and we'll get started. Before I even answer a question, I thought it would be important to mention this. And I'm going to talk about 4 mistakes that you should avoid with your retirement accounts. I've seen people make these mistakes, and I'm going to warn you all to try to avoid these because they can be expensive. Mistake number 1 is to not confirm and double check your money is actually invested. So what this means is when you sign up for a retirement plan, let's say with your employer, and you select how much of each paycheck, whether that's a dollar amount or a percentage, is invested, you need to make sure that the investments are actually selected. If not, you're going to be saving. It's literally like you spent so many years putting money aside, every single paycheck, you're putting money aside. Retirement comes out and turns out you saved $100,000 rather than having that $100,000 invested and possibly becoming millions. So that's a very common and expensive mistake to make. That's number 1. Number 2 is not taking into account taxes. So different retirement accounts have different tax strategies. Very quick example, a Roth 401k is different from a traditional 401k. A traditional 401k means that your money is invested pre-tax, so you haven't paid taxes on it, and whenever you go to withdraw the money at the age of retirement, then you're going to pay for taxes. Whereas a Roth 401k, you pay the taxes on your income and then invest that money. So you're not going to pay taxes again. That's something to pay attention to because it's going to affect your returns and, well, it's going to affect the money that you actually receive at retirement. That's what I should say. Because $1 million in a Roth account is not the same as $1 million in a traditional account. Oh, excuse me. $1 million in a traditional account is not the same as $1 million in a Roth account. Which leads me to mistake number 3. It's not putting in the numbers for how much you want to have at the age of retirement. There are lots of retirement calculators that will allow you to do this. Smart Asset has one. I believe NerdWallet has one as well. And the Ramsey Network has one. Wherein you can just go in there and start to dream. And I want to retire at the age of 65. I'm currently 25 or I'm 35. What number would I like to have at the age of retirement? Well, maybe you want to have 2 million. Use that and work backwards to say, put it in the calculator. The calculator is going to show you how much you need to be invested on a monthly basis with X return on average. So let's say 10% as an average rate of return in order to have that 2 million at the age of retirement. So use these retirement calculators. They're not going to be perfect, and of course things are going to change. Your income might change. and so many other factors that are outside of your control. But focus on what you can control and put it into that calculator so you can see, well, how much do I need? Is this a good amount for me? Is it not a good amount for me? How much do I need to be investing on a monthly basis in order to get that number? And also paying attention to what I mentioned earlier about whether or not it's a Roth account or a traditional account. So that's the third mistake. The last mistake is relying on Social Security or the government, because Social Security is aimed to cover about 40% of people's expenses at the age of retirement. So that's less than 50% of your expenses being covered, and now you're left to your own devices. And this, when we're talking about government and we're talking about politics, things change all the time. Social Security was not something that was here thousands of years ago. No, it's something that was built, and it has the possibility of being removed. It could be changed. Do not rely on your government to take care of you, especially in the ages of retirement wherein you're vulnerable and some would say your golden ages of life. So those are the 4 mistakes to avoid with your retirement accounts. Make sure it's invested. Don't ignore the taxes. Calculate how much you think you might need, and don't rely on Social Security. Okay, the second thing I wanted to talk about before I actually get into the questions is student loan repayments have restarted for many people. Now, some people's student loans have been on pause. The repayments have been on pause, and it's been lovely. They've been taking their time and enjoying their lives. It's nice. But reality is hitting, and the student loans are not being recollected. This is something very serious, especially if you have federal student loans. So listen up. Go into your credit report, log into your lender account, whoever you have the loan with, and see how much you owe with your student loans. See what the balance is. Hopefully there's no interest, but if there is, most likely there will be. See what the interest rate is. See what the minimum payments are. Just look at the facts. Get as much details as possible. Facts, not feelings. And then use that information to create a plan. Don't just settle for the minimum payment. You would spend decades paying off that loan. I know people who are in their 70s. One person in particular. In their 70s, still paying off student loans. It's better to endure a few years of discomfort to have a lifetime of freedom than to be wiggling between discomfort and freedom for years on end. So pay attention to your student loans. Pay that off. Don't settle for the safe plan if you don't absolutely have to do it, because that's going to keep you in debt for so long, because it's so flexible and it's just based off of a little amount that they're using based off of your income. Okay, so the first question that we actually have is that I've tried budgeting so many times, but I always fall off after a couple of weeks. Is it that I am doing it wrong, or do I just not have the discipline to stick with it? Budgeting, just like other behaviors and habits, it takes time. It takes time, it takes patience, it takes persistence, and it takes doing something that makes it easy for you, as easy as possible. So look at your personality type. Some people, they love numbers. So that people that go into accounting, for example, they love numbers, they love spreadsheets, and they have no problem using a spreadsheet for their budget. You might not be like that. You might be someone that likes to just wing it. So for you, what I would say is look for an option that's even easier. So that might be the budgeting apps that are out there. I personally use a budgeting app. I couldn't do a spreadsheet. Even though I started using that, it was too much. I know people who actually use their notes app on their phone. That sounds ridiculous to me, but it works for them. And if that's what works for you, then use it. Some people use the envelope system, the cash envelope system. Whatever it is that works for you, use that system. That's number one. Number two is to be realistic. You can be realistic by going based off of facts. So I always say that go back to your previous expenses, pull out your bank statements for the last 3 months ideally, because this is going to give you a good idea of on average what you tend to spend your money on, how much it tends to cost. And don't just estimate things, because your estimates might be very off. So use those facts to create your first budget. Once you've done that, start budgeting for the first month. And I promise you, it's just my estimate based on my experience, your first budget is going to be horrible. The first month, it just sucks. It's not fun at all. Just like any other behavioral change and any new productive habit that you're starting out, it's going to be horrible, but stick with it. At the end of that month, review what worked, review what didn't work, and make some tweaks for the following month. And then by the third month, you're getting used to it now. You're getting used to it, and you're kind of getting a hang of what you're doing, and you're understanding what you're doing. And at that point, you keep on tweaking things, adjusting, and making sure that your budget prioritizes your goals that you're currently working on. Your Q goal, your quarterly goal that you're working on, your budget reflects that that's a priority to you. So that is what I would say to that question. Look at what worked, look at what didn't work, and create a budgeting system that is going to be the easiest yet most effective one for you. Next question is, I am having a hard time finding a job with my undergrad degree. Should I go into graduate school to hopefully get better job opportunities? This is something I think a lot of people can relate to right now, because the job market is tough. That's what I hear. And I want to say, first, congrats on graduating. I'm curious about what you've been doing so far that makes the job market tough for you. So what kind of industry did you graduate in? I have all those questions, but I don't have the context of that. But what I would say is that you should make sure that you're not just throwing in applications. You're not just sending applications online. Oh, I applied to 100 jobs last week. You know, a lot of other people are doing that same thing. You need to be able to stand out. So do things nobody's doing. Physically go to certain places. Make some connections. Look at people in your network. Ask for referrals. Go to the sites that you're looking for. If you're working in like construction or something, go to construction sites. Do things people are not doing. Don't just sit on your computer all day and be sending in 100 job applications, because you're playing a volume game, but not necessarily a quality game. And in the job market, the way it's been the way I'm seeing it play out and what people have been telling me, it's really tough. You're sending in all these applications. First of all, AI is reviewing all of those. A million other people are doing the same thing that you're doing. It's tough. So make lots of dua, be persistent, reach out to people that you know, people that are hiring, people that are not hiring, people that you know that have businesses. Just reach out to people, heck, people that you don't even know. Go on LinkedIn and create a profile and cold message so many people, DM people, email them. Go to job fairs where you get to actually see people. You need to always be ready. If you're someone who is a graphic designer, for example, you need to have your portfolio ready at all times to show it. And you need to show that I want this, I am capable, I am determined. And keep on persevering. Inshallah, you're going to get that job. So that's just my take with people saying the job market is being very difficult right now, or it's very hard to find opportunities. And to answer the question about whether or not you should go to grad school to get better opportunities, I would say no, just off the bat. Because the way I look at grad school is that you should go to grad school if it makes sense for your career. Go to grad school if you have the means, first and foremost. And secondly, if it makes sense for your career. So someone that's trying to be a dentist, for example, yeah, you need to go to grad school. Someone that's trying to be a doctor, yeah, you need to go to grad school. But someone that's working in IT, do you really need to go to grad school? Business, do you really need to get an MBA? So that's what I would say. Go to grad school if it makes sense for your career and if you have the means to do so. And jumping right out of undergrad straight into grad school, I did that. Personally, would not recommend. I was told not to do it. I did it anyway. And I quickly learned why I was told not to do it. But sometimes you go into undergrad and you have all these things about what you want to do and all of that stuff, but it's very theoretical. And sometimes you do have practical experience, but it's in a controlled environment. It's just different. So if you can work a couple of years with your undergrad degree, or at least what you think you want to do in grad school, meet people that are doing what you think you want to do, get into those spaces, see what it's actually like, not what the textbooks tell you it's like. So that's the second thing I would say about that. And I'm wishing you all the best, and inshallah that you find a job that's one, halal, and two, also suits your lifestyle. So wishing you all the best with that. Next question is, I have a 401k but don't know what it's actually invested in. How do I find out if it's halal? Two-part question. Number one, how do you find out what it's invested in? Log into your investment account, some abbreviation that's used to identify that mutual fund. So use that's how you know what exactly it's invested in. And with some portfolios, some sites, they would actually allow you to see, well, what industries are these investments in, what are they in the US, or are they international, all those details you can see, the rate of return, all of that. So that's the first thing. Beyond that, to figure out whether or not it's halal, there are apps like Zoya, wherein you can take the name of a mutual fund, type it in there, and they will show you a Sharia compliance report based on AOFI standards. Now, I will say, personally, I don't fully agree with all the criteria that they have to determine whether or not something is halal, but that's just my personal opinion. So I would say use Zoya as a tool. Don't just say, oh, Zoya said it's halal, so it's halal. No, use that as a tool, use that as a place to start, and then make sure that you actually put in the effort, you do your due diligence in order to make sure that you are comfortable with the investment, that it is something that on the day of judgment, you can stand in front of Allah and say, I did X, Y, and Z with my wealth, and inshallah it was permissible. So make sure that you're doing that, and you don't just kind of put your hand off of your investment, because this is your money and you're going to be asked about it. So next question is, I have money saved up and want to explore investing beyond the stock market. What options should I look into? Such a beautiful question. There are a few ways to go about this, depending on where you are in life. If you're in your 20s or if you're young, you might want to explore what some of your interests are and invest in those things. So if you're someone who would like to be a coach, invest in coaching. If you're someone who would like to start a business, invest in a business. If you're someone who wants to learn this new skill, invest in something to get you that skill, whether it's coding or AI and that kind of stuff. Just get curious about it. Because the best investment you can really make, honestly, is on yourself. Like, there's no investment that's going to grant you a higher rate of return in this world other than yourself. So you could also look into real estate, for example, halal options there. You could look into investing in commodities, so gold, silver, and the like. You could look into investing in cryptocurrencies. If do your research on whether or not that's permissible. Get curious about what you'd like to learn about. Learn about different investment options. Which one piques your interest the most? Put in a little bit of money. See what you're trying to get, and just play around with it a little bit. But that is hopefully after you've already taken care of your basics. So you've paid off debt. You have your emergency fund set aside. You have your monthly budget that you're sticking to. You're already investing for the long run, and then you explore other investments. That's what I would do if I were in your shoes. Next question is, I make around $55,000 and I'm living comfortably, but I still feel like I have nothing to show for it. Am I doing something wrong, or is it just part of adulting no one talks about? So there's a part of this question that actually stood out to me. You said, I have nothing to show for it. Who are you trying to show something to? Who are you trying to show something to? That's my first question. If it's yourself, as in you have these goals, and you wish that you had 10K in your bank account just lying around, then okay, that's valid. You're doing it for you. But if you're doing it for the Joneses, then don't try to keep up with the Joneses, because the Joneses ain't got money. So but I can see the other part of the question, wherein it's like, you want to have assets, you want to have your financial picture, not just you feel like it's okay, but it actually shows that it's okay, because you're working towards the goals that you have set for yourself that are going to make you feel okay. So again, I have so many questions with this because I don't have the context, but you make 55K. Are you budgeting on a monthly basis? Because that, honestly, a budget gives you control of your money. That's how you know what you're doing with your money. Because every single month, imagine this, every single month, you are telling your money what to do. No surprises. If there's a surprise, your emergency fund takes care of it. If it's even smaller than that, then your miscellaneous line item on your budget takes care of it. But every single month, you're in control. You know what you're doing. And tax time comes around and you don't ask yourself the question, where did all my money go? Because you, throughout the year, were telling your money what to do. So a budget is so important when it comes to feeling in control of your money. Now, when you're looking at that budget, ask yourself, does this budget reflect my goals? If I look at my budget here, can I see that I actually want to pay off debt because of how I see the way my money is planned for, that I'm really tackling my debt and it's a priority to me, and every other additional dollar that I get is going towards this debt? Every additional dollar that I get is going towards this debt. Can your budget answer that question in a way that you're pleased with? If so, then if that's your priority right now, then focus on that. Because you might feel like, oh, everybody else is going on vacation, everybody else is making these investments, everybody else has a business. But trust me, you don't know the entire financial picture. So yes, they might be doing all of those things, but you're far ahead of them. And you're not competing with anyone, but you're competing with yourself. But when you make a statement like, I have nothing to show for it, it makes me think, well, you're comparing to yourself to others. At least that's the default assumption that I have. So if you're working towards your financial goals, even if it feels like you don't have anything to show for it, in the long run, you're going to be better off, inshallah, because you're taking care of your priorities, which right now, for example, is paying off debt. Now, if it is that your budget does not reflect those goals, then make a decision. Make a decision. Here is what my goal is going to be for this quarter. Just this quarter. July 1 to September 30th, what is my goal going to be? Write that down and focus on it. You've got it. And make sure that you're just working towards those. Whatever your financial goal is, your budget should reflect that you're working towards that. Next question is, what should I do if my 401k isn't halal, but my job doesn't offer alternatives? Ooh, this is a tough one. It's a tough one. What I would say to you is, personally, here's what I would do, inshallah. I would invest outside of my job's options, because you don't need a employer to invest. It's a common way to do it, and it's a very convenient way to do it, but you don't need an employer to invest. So I would create a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA and select my investments that I vetted and made sure that they are Sharia compliant, and then put money in there. And I would do something called dollar cost average. Every single month, I invest the same amount of money, regardless of what's happening in the market. If the market is up, I'm investing the same amount. If the market is down, I'm investing the same amount. Tariffs go into effect, I'm investing the same amount. We have a new president, I'm investing the same amount. Regardless of what's happening in the market, I am investing the same amount on a monthly basis. COVID breaks out, may Allah protect us all, I'm investing the same amount. That is what I would do if I were in your shoes. Next question is, what are some low barrier ways to explore real estate investing? One that comes top of mind is REITs. REIT. Real estate investment trusts. This is an option, an investment option, wherein a lot of different investors' money is gathered, it's pulled together, and invested into real estate companies. So whether that's buying properties and having them rented out or something else, but it's within the real estate space, and people's money is gathered and put into these investment opportunities. You'll be getting dividends from that. You might benefit from the value of the properties going up, so appreciation and the like. But that's a way to invest in real estate without having to outright take out inshallah a permissible mortgage or anything like that, because it's a collective and there are several investors. This, definitely be careful, because real estate is one of those spaces that, the default is riba. So you want to make sure that what you're doing and the people that are managing that REIT, if you choose to invest in it, are conscious of Islamic principles. Next question is it possible, a lot of investing questions today. Is it possible to invest in a startup without a ton of money? It depends on the type of startup that you're looking to invest in. If it's a startup that you are founding, then try to get your MVP as fast as possible. That's your minimal viable product. To get your MVP ready, make it as low cost, use the least amount of money possible that you need in order to get it out. Because again, you're going to find so many mistakes with it that you're going to iterate so many times. So it doesn't make sense to dash out a ton of money into it. Get your MVP ready, test it out, iterate, and from there, then create your go-to-market strategy and see how you're going to, you should know how you're going to monetize this even before that. So in my experience with Finance Girly in particular, it's not compared to what startups need to start, it's not required a ton of money, but it did require some money. And with AI now, it's just so accessible, so easy, a lot easier to start a startup. That's if you want to start a startup. Now, if you're looking to invest in somebody else's startup, chances are you are going to need a lot of money, because in most cases, that's what it is. You need a lot of money to invest in a startup. I don't know all startups that exist, so you might have one that doesn't require too much. Next question is, I got a raise recently at work and I am grateful for it, alhamdulillah. But now I am nervous about spending more. How do I enjoy my money without falling into lifestyle creep or guilt? The first thing is to create a budget. And I've said budgeting so many times, but I really believe in budgeting. Because when you have a budget and you actually know what you're spending your money on, and you can see that you're working towards your goals, getting a raise, you're able to still work towards your financial goals. And yeah, maybe you can let your lifestyle creep a little bit. It's not always a bad thing for your lifestyle to get better as your pay gets better. Like you want to live a little, you want to enjoy the money that you're having, so you're not burned out and just grumpy every time you get to work, and you're resentful to everyone that you work with, because you're just trying to save every penny. So if you're working on your financial goals and you're able to afford that lifestyle inflation, allow your lifestyle to adapt and get better as your income gets better, bigger, and you're getting rewarded for, inshallah, the work that you're doing, and it's a blessing from Allah. So allow that to happen, and of course be giving as well while you're doing all of that. That helps take away the guilt of it, because you're also giving, inshallah, for the right reasons. Okay, we might take one or two more questions here. I'll make this one. Should I aggressively pay off my student loans or focus on saving first? Well, you need a bare minimum emergency fund. So maybe 1 month of expenses, depending on your situation, if you're someone who has a family and you have dependents that you take care of, your emergency fund starting off might not be the same, might be a lot more conservative than someone who's single and living with their parents and they don't have that many expenses. So have a very lean emergency fund. It doesn't have to be 3 to 6 months. It does not have to be that. And then once you have that taken care of, double down on paying off your debt. Pay it off with a vengeance. Take it out of your life. Kick that debt to the curb. Kick it out of your life. You don't need it. And focus solely on paying off that debt, even if it means stopping certain investments. And once that's taken care of, then you can get back to building up, completing your emergency fund, investing, living a little, enjoying life. That's what I would say. So prioritize. The last question we're going to answer today is, what's the best way to stay motivated during a long debt payoff journey? The first thing is to identify why you're doing it. Identify the reason behind your desire to pay off debt and your actions to pay off debt and your goal to pay off debt. Identify that, because that is going to keep you going when things get tough, especially if it's long and especially if the amount is overwhelming. And if your why is not strong enough, you are going to give up. You are going to stop. You are going to bend when life throws you curveballs. So identify why. Seek the help of Allah. If you have that intention, then 1,000% believe that Allah is going to help you. Allah is going to help you. Your debt, $100,000, $200,000. Yeah, to humans it sounds like a lot, but to Allah it's nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing to Allah. So remember your why. Put your trust in Allah. Make dua all the time, and make sacrifices. Make sacrifices. Make those sacrifices. Don't try to do a million things at once. Oh, I'm paying off debt, but I'm still going on vacation, because that's going to prolong the journey beyond what it could be, and it's going to feel more tiring. Reward yourself incrementally. So have shorter goals. If your total debt balance is about $150,000, break it down. Every time I pay $25,000, I'm going to celebrate. I'm not going to celebrate in a way that puts me in a deeper hole, but I'm going to celebrate in a way that I can feel like I've accomplished something and I'm still making progress. That's the next thing I would say. And finally is to get accountability. Have another human support you. Have another human support you. I'm a financial coach. I work with people who are in a lot of debt. I've seen people who have paid off 6 figures of debt. So it's not impossible. And I hold my clients accountable. I support them. People have different things that drive them. So I figure out what that is and try to give them the inspiration, not motivation, to keep them going. So if you need support, you're looking for support, go to financegirly.com/coaching to book a free consultation. Now that, my friends, brings us to the end of today's session. I am happy to be back. Missed being here, as I said in the beginning, and look forward to seeing you all next week, inshallah. If you have any questions, submit them at financegirly.com/show. That's SHOW. If you want to work one-on-one with me through coaching, schedule a free consultation at financegirly.com/coaching. Last but not least, I have been working on this course for the past almost year or so. It's a very practical, straight to the point, little to no jargon course. We cover everything from budgeting to investing to saving to halal investing and what you need in order to succeed as a individual who's trying to manage the money better. And we're conscious of Islamic principles in that course. So if that's something that you're interested in, join the wait list at financegirly.com/course. I'll catch you all next week, inshallah. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.